Good afternoon and welcome to a large round-robin affair on Day 3, the final day of the round-robin at the Canadian Senior Men's Championship. My name is Peter Lombardius alongside Blair Setford. And Blair, in an absolute gem of a game earlier today, Bear Creek lost 6-5 to Toronto, and that catapulted the Batmen and guaranteed them top spot. In this game, it matches 3-1 Bear Creek against 3-1 the Grand Prairie Pirates. And it is a very critical opportunity that awaits as you take a look at the starting lineup for Donnie Atkinson's team. It's a second playoff life, which is on the line. Finishing second or finishing third is a big difference in the tournament setup.
Well, finishing second, Ozzy Peters, you said, gives you the double life, which just gives you a little bit more leeway and flexibility as you get into the playoffs. Not every game is an elimination game, but you should treat this game, if you're these two teams, as an elimination game and bring your best lineup, and they've both done that.
Riley Mannion, member of Canada's U23, which was, air quote, a U25 event, really, because of COVID forcing it back and allowed the athletes a couple of years later to still be eligible. And Mannion, part of the Canadian staff, and has pitched well here this week. In fact, he threw a dynamite game last night against the Sauk Loggers in a 4-2 Bear Creek triumph. There are a couple of changes defensively, nothing major. And the pitch swung on and missed by Braden Arcand in his customary leadoff spot for Grand Prairie. And Arcand has a couple of long balls in the event. One ball and one strike. The count on Braden Arcand. It'll be interesting to see how Bear Creek responds from giving up 2 runs in the bottom of the 6th and losing that seesaw affair in the first game of the day. And Arcand has gone deep again. Never a doubt. And starts the game with a home run.
Great start for the Grand Prairie Pirates. And Peter, 2 different teams that are coming in with 2 different momentum sets right now. The Pirates dropped the opening game to the Toronto Batmen on day 1. They've been on a roll ever since, have been crushing the ball and racking up the runs. For Bear Creek, they dropped that game this morning after winning their first 3. And now behind after 1 batter. That's not the start that you wanted.
Third home run of the tournament, 8th run batted in for Braden Arcand. Nice to have that kind of pop at the top of the order. And this guy has plenty of it too. Patrick Burns, the 33-year-old from Saskatoon, was a fabulous basketball player at the University of Saskatchewan in the day. And he is having an excellent tournament. He leads in hitting. He's 10 for 13. Zach Berg again showing his wares at shortstop as that took a tough hop, stayed with it, made a strong throw across the diamond to get Burns.
Well, that wasn't how Bear Creek started the tournament. They actually started with Brandon Horn at shortstop, and it's probably more at home at third base these days, and Zach Berg has been lightning in a bottle for the Express at short.
And just showed it off again there. The Pirates had a nice showing. It's not their entire group that is here at the Canadians that performed in the ISC World Tournament in Denmark, Wisconsin. But a player they did not have was this gentleman, Keegan Arcand. And it's great to have him back, and he has certainly not hurt their ability on the offensive side of the game. We saw him go deep here yesterday Keegan has 2 home runs and 5 runs batted in. He's 4 for 15 overall in the event. And Mannion trying to bounce back from giving up that leadoff home run to the other Arcand, and that's Braden. Both teams at 3-1. It's their final round robin affair. On the ground, not an easy play. And Keegan Arcand is called safe. And Jeff Lyons has other ideas.
Watch Jeff Lyons' foot when he slides across. I think it's up in the air and maybe doesn't touch the bag.
Get another look.
Well, maybe he did get it there.
You're right, though. The heel almost planted before the bag and then the tap. Very close. And another runner aboard, and a swing and a miss from Scott Knee-High.
Well, Peter, there was the changeup from Riley Mannion. We talked last night about his ability to, if he can throw that pitch for a strike, it gives him 3 pitches for the batters to think about.
Knee-High batting .500 in the event. He's 7 for 14, and he's driven in 7 with 3 home runs.
You talk about professional hitters. Scott Knee-High brings a bat to the ballpark and an attitude. He hits the ball with authority every time.
And batted .500 at the ISC as well. And Mannion upstairs with a rise to get a very good hitter in Knee-High for out number 2 of this top of the first inning. And our first look at another national team member in Corey Jones, the son of a former national team member in Jim Jones, who was lucky enough to grow up watching Jim play in Saskatoon and for the national team. And it was great to see him again yesterday at the park. In fact, after he came up to the booth, he was on his way to the airport to pick up his son, who is a teacher and wasn't available for day 1 and part of day 2, but he is back, and that's a huge add right in the heart of their lineup.
Must be a PD day.
The kids seem to have more of those, I find.
Conveniently around long weekends, too.
It can be very true. Corey Jones. And he already is 2 for 3 in the one game that he played. And went deep, I might add. So it did not take him very long to get into the act with the bat. And this Grand Prairie team really swinging it after a disappointing 10-2 setback to open the tournament at the hands of a team that's been a bit of a nemesis for them in the Toronto Batmen. Jones in the air, Quentin Bruce over to his right, and with the glasses on, finds it and catches it. Braden Arcand's 3rd home run of the tournament has the Pirates from Grand Prairie in front of the Bear Creek Express. They'll come to bat when we return on a beautiful Friday to start September at Softball City in Surrey. Steven Normand takes a 1-0 lead to the circle. Going to work as the starter. We would have expected that in this very important game. I think we'll see a fair bit of him the rest of the way when Grand Prairie plays. He has pitched 13 2/3. They have Evan listed for 6.2 of pitching, but we know that is not the case. And he is 2-1 so far in this tournament. 14 strikeouts. And working against 38-year-old Brandon Horn, a world champion in Saskatoon in 2015.
Steve pitched a great game for the Pirates in that win over Souk that we did last night. I think it was last night. They're all kind of blending.
They are.
At this point.
And a base hit for Horn. And Bear Creek with their leadoff batter aboard in the bottom of the first in this battle for second place in the pool. And an extra playoff life is 8 of the 13 teams that have been on display here this week in the senior men's division. Of course, there's a great Masters event going on at the same time. This fabulous facility with 4 very nice diamonds. High in the air off the bat of Tyler Pauli, who got off the schneid with an RBI triple in the game against Toronto earlier today. Pauli with just the 1 hit so far. They'd love him to get red hot. And Blair, as you've mentioned on a couple of occasions, he is more than capable.
Yeah, we've talked about Tyler Pauli, his ability to carry a team through 3, 4, 5 game stretch. And for you Express fans, you're just waiting for that moment. We've seen maybe flashes of it to come, and we thought after that triple perhaps he was going to be on the way.
Well, only had one more at-bat after that in the game. And will not be the least bit surprised if maybe that kick-starts the engine. He's just too good a hitter not to. Has had some memorable ISC tournaments.
A couple of batting titles to his credit at the tender age of 28, but here down on strikes. And looks to me like he's pulling the head out a little bit, Peter, as I sit back and I watch the swing. Maybe we'll see it here again. Maybe not, but just looks like his timing is just a bit off. Here's a guy whose timing is spot on.
Spot on. Ridiculous. This is Quentin Bruce. 5 home runs. I have him at 11 runs batted in. He's 7 for 11. 636. All world at the ISC, the top batter, all world at the World Cup. This guy is a star in the making. I'm not sure he's done it long enough to give him quite that billing yet, but he is terrific. And after his second home run today, kind of tabbed him as Bruce Almighty.
Not sure he'll wear that one lightly.
Too humble.
He's got the right hand taped up again. You can see it there in the shot. He got hit in the lower wrist last night by Derek Mason in the game against Souk, and came out this morning with it taped up. Obviously no ill effects as he belted a couple of home runs.
Lays off that pitch. He thought it was up. Home plate umpire said it was in a good spot. So 2 balls and 2 strikes on Bruce.
Peter, that's Andrew Godin from New Brunswick behind the plate. Daryl Helmer, Alberta, is out at first base, and Tony Kaliza from Manitoba is at third, actually behind second right now.
And had a good twist at that pitch. And these two would have seen plenty of one another, potentially, on the circuit.
Well, Grand Prairie came out to Tavistock in mid-July and played a number of the Ontario teams. It was a good tournament for them. They didn't make the championship game, but it was good exposure for them. They also went out to Minnesota for an event prior to the World Tournament.
That's a second consecutive strikeout.
Creek.
4 for 11. Change up. Tough hop. Horns going to third.
Boy, that came up on Scott Galenza, got him in the shoulder, and then ricocheted right past Todd Williams, who was at the bag anticipating the soft toss.
We'll wait for the official score. I'm bound to call that a hit. That's a tough hop. But we'll wait and see. However it is scored, it extends the inning. And Horn at third. Driven, foul. Off the bat of Jeff Lyons. And Lyons yet to drive in a run. He is 1 for 9 so far in this championship.
Yeah, they'll need more out of Jeff Lyons. Well, they're debating that one long and hard down in the scores booth. Still no official word on the hit.
Normand comes inside. And despite the reaction, didn't miss by much. He can be really tough with that curve on right-handed batters. Keegan Arcan held it as long as he could, but umpire Godin says it was just a little off the plate. Lions trying to tie the game after the leadoff home run of Braden Arcan in the top of the first, and he will tie the game with his first run batted in. Ball that hit 4 feet in front of home plate and made its way into the outfield. And Lyons has his second hit and first run batted in of this Canadian championship, and the game is even.
Give some credit there to Brandon Horn, who very alertly went first to third on that play on the ricochet off of Scott Galenza. And they've ruled that, well, I was about to say they've ruled it a hit, but actually that's just the single for Jeff Lyons, I would assume. But I haven't seen an error go up either.
Nick Moore, 2 for 12. He does have 3 runs batted in as he faces Normand. So Bear Creek with an answer. And that wasp that just flew by could have its own airline attached to it.
And you're not a fan, I know.
I am not a fan, and that one was large and in charge. Actually, I was watching a men's softball game the first time I was ever stung by one of those varmints at Bob Van Impe Stadium. Drinking an iced tea and didn't see it land on the lip.
Uh-oh.
It didn't do great things to my lip. which people have been looking to do for some time.
They gave him a single for Travis Jones. Not yet up on the scoreboard, but in Game Changer, it was scored a single.
So that would be 3 hits now in the inning for Bear Creek, who have drawn even. Change of quality. Sits down Nick Moore. The Bear Creek Express in this tussle of 3-1 teams with an extra playoff life on the line is tied at 1 after 1 on a beautiful Friday in Surrey, British Columbia. A 1-1 tie is Riley Mannion. Set to work against second baseman in this game, Todd Williams. Is the return of Corey Jones has changed things from when we watched this team yesterday.
Yeah, it's bumped everybody from 5, 6, 7, 8 down in the order. And Josh Kinney comes out of the batting order.
Williams, 4 for 10, has a double and a run batted in. He's 41 years of age. Was 5 for 16 in the 2022 tournament. And pulls this foul as that ball got up and in tight on him. From Mannion. Have seen Riley this year throw 2 terrific games with my own 2 eyes. One against the New York Gremlins. And then threw a dandy last night, too, against Souk. The host Loggers did get off the schneid, as we expected, earlier today against Surrey. And we'll take on Physio & Co., a Newfoundland team, in the final game of the round robin here tonight at 8:30 to try and clinch the final playoff spot in their group. Horn takes a step into foul territory and records the first out. Scott Galenza, 33 years of age. 6 for 14 at last year's ISC World Tournament. And Scott having a good event again. 5 for 11 with a couple of doubles and 3 runs batted in. the shortstop.
Scott's been around the game for a long time, did a stint with Softball Alberta, and originally from the Camrose area, so he's got the pedigree in that town where they've had some great teams over the years.
Yes, the Camrose Merchants. Some marvelous players that made their way through there. At one point, Alberta was very much a place that was producing high-end players. Mannion paints the outside corner, and the count runs full on Galenza, who did have a tough time at the ISC. Good to see him bounce back in this event. Mannion's second strikeout of the afternoon. And there's 2 down.
Evan Norman.
Getting through this inning cleanly would be a big confidence boost right now for Riley Mannion. He rebounded well after giving up the home run, got a ground out, a strikeout, and a fly ball. But I think having a clean inning here and working from a tie game would definitely be a boost for him.
How often do you see in this game, Blair, that if you're going to get to a really good pitcher, a lot of times it comes early?
Oh, all the time. All the time. We talk about that with Cleary, with Bess Grove, with Kirkpatrick. The top guys in the game, you really do need to get after them early.
If you don't get them then, in most cases, you don't at all.
And that is one of the things that really does separate those top guys from some of the others, is they get stronger as the game goes on. And we've seen some of the guys here second time, maybe even the third time through the order, is where they start giving up runs in bunches. You very rarely see that with a Sean Cleary. He might give up a couple in the first, but if he can get through that unscathed, you're in tough.
Mannion misses, and the count at 2-2 to Evan Normand. He's 1 for 4. And had a good rip at that Mannion pitch, and I can tell by the body language of Riley that he knows he left that in a spot that he did not want it. That looked like it was middle of the plate. And he knew it. And he knew he got away with one.
Well, you got to come back and make a better pitch this time around. It's already in the past.
Rip by Normand. And gone. Jumped out of here in a hurry. At first, I thought Bruce was going to have a chance in center to maybe go back and make a play, and it just carried on a line.
Bruce was frozen, and it just kept going over his head and on out of the park. That was a bullet.
Grand Prairie, the Pirates' second home run of the game to restore a 1-run lead. And Evan Normand with his first home run. This is a tough play, and it's going to fall. Paulai could not get back, and Bruce, playing deep, could not get to it, even with his excellent speed.
Well, it's all about hitting them where they ain't, as Wee Willie Keeler used to say. And that's a fine example of that from Shane Milligan in the 9 spot. To turn the batting order over, you get back to Braden Arcon at the top. And a good bit of hitting there. And it looks like Riley Mannion just wobbled a little bit here, Peter. Got the first 2 guys pretty quickly, but 2 pitches in a row to Evan Normand were middle. And Shane Milligan, it's a seeing eye base hit.
And there's lots to play for in this game. Having an extra life in the playoffs in the format makes a big difference. Now it's going to mean a date, very likely.
With Devin McCullough and the Saskatoon Angels look like, currently at least anyway, coming into today to be the 4th place team.
That's if you don't win the game. Over the head. Arcan having a great start. Big wide turn and 2 wide by Shane Milligan. And looks like he hurt himself trying to make his way back.
Yeah, he's come up really tender on that left leg.
Braden Arcan with a bullet. Right off the fence, nicely relayed, and the big turn cost the Pirates, but they do go deep one more time. They're swinging it well as anybody right now in the event, and lead Bear Creek 2-1, heading to the bottom of the 2nd. Dallas Kipfer and Bear Creek, as was the case, going to the bottom of the 2nd. Down a run, and Kipfer has started to become a very effective player as this tournament goes along. Had a big home run earlier today. Had a key hit last night in the 6th inning and a 3-run 6th for Bear Creek in their 4-2 triumph over Souk.
Well, we talked about that this morning. He got that 0-2 little flute single out to left field, which scored a couple of key runs for Bear Creek. Turned out to be the margin difference, too. Souk came back and scored a couple late. And then I just thought this morning he was swinging the bat much more confidently and then banged one out of here in the middle innings.
And took a quality hack at that pitch. Member of Canada's U23 World Cup team in Paraná, Argentina.
You got it.
Well, I learned from the best.
Luciano.
Well, he might have a bit of an edge, but
he teaches us all things Spanish.
I love the language. You might have heard it in the background. Much better than either one of us could ever. And I guarantee you he's a better dancer. Although poor guy's dealing with a knee injury right now, so I'm not sure but the hips would still move in a way that we can't. Never forget covering a Toronto Blue Jays season opener, Blair, in San Juan, Puerto Rico. And my camera guy and I went out, and I was absolutely floored at the Latins' ability to dance. It did not matter the age, frame, those hips move different than ours.
Hips don't lie.
I've heard that. A full count on Dallas Kipfer. Yeah, that was quite an adventure. Blue Jays season opener, followed by a trip to the Masters in 2001.
That is that's a trip to remember for sure.
It was. Strikeout.
Now batting left fielder number 17, Noah
Fourth
Baker.
of the game for Normand. And Noah Baker, the left fielder, is the batter. 2 Grand Prairie home runs. Right at 43-year-old. Listen, if you're going to make a mistake on a guy's age, at least make it younger.
Oh, without a doubt. I'm sure Scott would have been very pleased to have heard that.
Not that anybody listening would be quick to point out a mistake.
Least of all, anybody right here beside us.
Well, him I can deal with. He's the boss. It's called becoming older and trying to prepare for 400 million teams.
Yeah. Well, wait till we bring you back next year for the ISC.
Oh, I'll be ready. Ball and a strike. Here's Normand. Going to work. Brandon Horn on deck. And look out, coach. Nobody needs that help. He's got a great personality, huh, Blair?
Oh, yeah.
He's a character over there. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Steven Normand throwing well. 2-1 Grand Prairie. Lead it after 2 here at Softball City. the umbrellas are out. And because of the warmth today.
Oh, it's a beautiful day here in southern BC.
Patrick Burns is having himself a tournament. That's his 11th hit this week.
With the leadoff single brings up catcher number 27, Keegan Arcan.
The Saskatoon product absolutely getting it done at home plate. A former national team member himself, played on the team that went to Prague in 2019. Was not part of the 2022 team. Keegan Arcand can't get the bunt down as he pops it up, and Brandon Horn was there to accept it. There's a missed opportunity and the bunt attempt by the catcher.
Well, an accept is the right word there in the form of a gift by Keegan Arcand. A nice little soft popper right into the glove of Brandon Horn.
Scott Knee-High struck out against Riley Mannion. The Pirates have 6 hits. Patrick Burns is now 11 for 15. When you're around 800,
You're having yourself a week.
you think? Knee-High having a fine week himself. Pitch up, and a more favorable hitter's count for the left-handed hitting Knee-High. And he was right on that pitch. Sent it straight back.
Yeah, Scott doesn't swing and miss by much.
And I have him at 41 years of age.
Sounds about right. He was a late bloomer. Riley Mannion has got his number. That's twice he's got him to chase upstairs for a strikeout.
First baseman number 10, Corey Jones.
Corey Jones flew out his first time up. This is just his second game. Like that, a left-handed batter. Father Jim, a national team member as well. And didn't even need to check. Drop ball that Jones could not lay off of on the outside corner.
Reese Yancey throwing with some intensity down in left field bullpen for the Bear Creek Express.
Mannion wants it checked. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Corey Jones.
Yep, that was enough for our third base umpire, who's out towards second right now on the rotation, Tony Kaliza from Manitoba.
Upstairs again, gets the product of Leduc, Alberta. And Mannion giving up a couple of long balls. but continues to chalk up some strikeouts. It remains 2-1 Grand Prairie in this battle of teams with 3-1 records. Right? Brandon Horn leading things off against Stephen Normand. Brandon with a hit in the first. Bear Creek has 3 of them and trail it 2-1. Being out hit in the game 6-3, according to the scoreboard. And that would be pretty close, I would think, by my scorebook as well. On the ground, going down to get it. And making a good play was Todd Williams. Took it one-handed, a little off to the side, but got the job done to retire Brandon Horn. Tyler Pauli struck out against Normand. Evan Normand has the go-ahead blow in this game. His first home run of the tournament.
Normand got both Pauli and Bruce in the first inning.
With strikeouts. He's throwing well here this afternoon.
Peters, we look at the pools, and a couple people have asked, why is there only some teams are playing 5 games, some 6? The Manitoba entry that was supposed to be the 7th team in the black pool dropped out a couple of weeks ago, unable to make the trip. So you've got an imbalance in the pools. 7 teams in the red pool, 6 in the black. Everybody's still playing everybody else within their respective pools, so you will have a bit of an imbalance in pool play. Galway Hitmen, Niagara Stompers, for instance, are both 5-0, and they will be playing a little bit later tonight on one of the alternate diamonds. The winner of that will settle for first place in the red pool. Here in the black pool, only the 6 teams, and this game is for 3rd place and 2nd place. The loser will take 3rd, the winner 2nd.
So a lot on the line. That's an extra playoff life, as we've mentioned on a couple of occasions. And if you finish 2nd, you'd play the first place team on the other side in the crossover. Toronto clinching first place with their win earlier today over Bear Creek, as they have wins over both of these teams, as Pauli goes down on strikes again. Normand, that's number 6 by my book. And Quentin Bruce, who's actually struck out his last couple of times up in the tournament. Normand wanted that backdoor curve to find the outside corner, and he thought it did. So it can be tough on both right-handers and left-handers. Looks outside to a left-hander. In the air, carrying, eludes Evan Normand, and Quentin Bruce on his way to third with a 2-out triple.
Peter, you hit the nail on the head, carrying, and there's just a hint of a breeze that is blowing right to the left from our vantage point here behind home plate, and that would have helped just a little bit to keep that ball trailing away from Evan Normand in left field. That was a long way for him to go.
The 6th extra base hit of the tournament for Quentin Bruce, who has 5 home runs, and now a triple on one hop. Routine, some would call it candy. So Bruce stranded. The Pirates from Grand Prairie still in front, 2-1 after 3. Todd Williams, who just helped close out the bottom of the third, is the batter. And Williams takes high and inside from Riley Mannion. 4-1. Braden Arcand and Evan Normand have homered for Grand Prairie as they lead this game. Final round robin affair for both. The playoffs start tomorrow. If there are no tiebreakers, we will be with you starting at 11 when the crossover games are played for the teams at the top. There's 1 versus 2 on the crossover. And we will have all 5 games for you tomorrow on the broadcast side from this diamond. It's playoff time. This is hit. Step in, couple steps back, and it is gone. The way Travis Jones reacted originally, I thought it was going to be playable. It was not.
Well, he and Quentin Bruce are both commiserating out there, and there must be a bit of a breeze up higher. Not that Todd Williams needs breeze to get it out, but you saw Jones' reaction, took 2 steps in, and they can't believe that that ball is carried out of the park.
3 solo homers in the game for the Pirates, and they add to their lead. It is 3-1. And that did not seem like it was going to get out of here when it left the bat, but it did. Talked during the week now spending more and more time watching games over the last number of years at this diamond. And the wind will swirl, and the ball absolutely carries much better during the day. A little warmer today. That never usually hurts that either. And Yancey going back to work again for Bear Creek in the pen.
Sometime, Peter, I'd like to do a study after a tournament like this and go calculate how many runs are scored via the long ball.
Horn barehanded. Threw it away. Galenza with the turn. It needs to go back because he had turned enough towards second.
Well, he turned in fair territory. You can turn to your left in foul territory, and it's not a problem, but he turned to his left in fair territory. So he had to get back to the
He
bat.
did. And he knew it. Turned into a little bit more of a scramble. And again, we'll await. That's a really tough play for Horn. Did so well to field it barehanded. Unable to deliver the throw on target. So a run in on the home run by Williams. And Galenza, the shortstop, on base now at first. And the batter is Evan Normand, and he had a liner out of here his last time at home plate. The Pirates are feeling awfully good in the batter's box right now. The blemish was a tough loss to Toronto on Wednesday morning, but they have come back and been very strong, and right now in the driver's seat to finish second in the group behind Toronto. And Mannion rears back. He's not had the same kind of stuff today that he had last night.
Sometimes it's a little different under the lights. But I would agree, just not quite as crisp today, although that's a pretty good sequence. Even though that ricochets off of Nick Moore, it's a strikeout. First base is occupied.
And another Mannion strikeout after giving up the home run. And Galenza aboard.
Base hit for Galenza, it was ruled.
One down. Brings to the plate Wyatt Berube. Batting in place of Shane Milligan is number 44. Squared around, got by catcher Moore, and allows Galenza to move up into scoring position. Hope you're enjoying the rock music in behind us.
Keeping everybody active.
Sometimes it puts a little extra jump in the old step. In my case, getting older. Riley Mannion missing just out of the zone with a rise. Haven't seen as much of the change.
No, he's tucked that one away after first inning, really.
Mind seeing it right here. Maybe not to number 9 in the lineup. And a pinch hitter in Wyatt Berube, who's 0 for 4.
And I wonder if Shane Milligan hurt the leg enough on that play at third that he's not up to continuing in this one.
Upstairs, and another strikeout.
Braden Arcan.
Number 6 for Riley Mannion. And this guy's tearing the cover off the ball too. He homered to open the game and then hit a rope off the fence in left field. And you just mentioned Shane Milligan. That was the at-bat where he was hurt. He made the big wide turn at third and looked like he jammed something when he was tagged out trying to get back to the bag. You want to be careful with this guy right now.
Well, Braden Arcan swung at that pitch, but it sailed right on by. Nick Moore hit the plexiglass that is in behind the mesh, directly in behind home plate. You'll see it from the center fielder camera, and it ricocheted halfway back to the circle.
It did indeed. So if Bear Creek's going to stay in the hunt, they'd love to get an out here. Lots of time left in the game, of course, even if they don't. And the ball makes its way down the bleachers. Hoping to see a few more people on the weekend.
We've got a better crowd here today, probably 33% full, maybe.
That's fair.
But it's a lovely day here in Surrey. And that has brought some people out to the ballpark, and it will tomorrow and it will Sunday.
Mannion, nice response after giving up the home run and then a tough single. 3 strikeouts in a row to end the 4th. But the long ball continues to be Grand Prairie's friend. And they have a 2-run lead as we head to the bottom of the 4th. Bear Creek trailing by a couple of runs in their 6-5 loss today. They trailed early 3-0, battled back to take the lead. Had a 5-3 advantage in the game before Corey Way with a score 5-4. Not sure where that throw is going from catcher Keegan Arcan.
Keep Steve Normand on his toes.
Normand and Arcan. Change. And gets past Wyatt Berube, who stayed in the game.
Yeah, Todd Williams has moved around to third.
And Lyons with a leadoff base hit. He's 2 for 2 in the game. And a pinch runner. Nick Moore, the batter. Moore struck out his first time up against Normand. Squares around to bunt, takes. Always asked to bunt strikes as he looks down at third base coach, looking for the signals. And fouled back by Moore. Nick's 2 for 13 in the tournament. Does have 3 runs batted in. He'd love a big fly here that would tie the game. You get it up in the air right now with a little on it. It might have a chance to leave.
Interesting playing for 1 with your 6 batter here, heading into the lower half of the lineup.
Sticks out the bat. Williams makes a solid play. Had to go a ways to his left, steadied himself, and as you get another look, made a strong throw to get Moore, who runs well.
That's a good veteran play from Todd Williams. It's a lot of moving parts. You've got to get them all in the right sequence.
Brings Dallas Kipfer to home plate. He struck out against Normand. And we have seen him go deep. Today, in fact, in the game this morning that opened the day, a great game between Toronto and Bear Creek that ended 6-5. That's one of his bread and butter pitches.
Yeah, in on the corner, try to tie up the batter, get it underneath their hands, just inside with that offering.
And does have a curve action to it. Looks like it's coming right at you and makes the sharp turn across the corner of the plate. Goes the other way to the outside. I thought he went. I wasn't alone.
That's Daryl Helmer, who is the first base umpire and is halfway across on the rotation with a runner at second base. Daryl's got plenty of international experience. He's done some World Cups, some ISCs.
There's some men and women who can tell some stories.
Oh, yeah. Most of them are off the record, though.
Probably. I'm just thankful they still want to do it. Sports wouldn't be very good without them. Although we're working on trying to eliminate them in some respects. Galenza scooped out of the dirt well by Corey Jones. That'd make Dad happy.
Yeah, he bailed out his shortstop here a little bit. Went down and got it.
Special shout out to Jordy Jones, who I know has been watching. Great family. Done a lot for this game and continue to. So Kipfer goes down 6-3. And this is Noah Baker, who popped out to Galenza in inning number 2. Arcon holding it, trying to frame it for the umpire to buy. He was not. Two balls and no strikes. Noah Baker trying to close the gap, which he might with a base hit. Off the glove of a diving Galenza, and he has done exactly what he was hoping to do. Baker drives in a run and will have to be scored a double as he scoots to second. And Bear Creek back to within 1 again.
Good bit of hitting by Noah Baker. Didn't try to do too much with it, just hooked it right back up the middle. Valiant effort by Scott Galenza, but just enough to slow it down, but couldn't corral it all the way.
I think we're going to get a pinch hitter here.
Just about to say that very thing. Mac Mulvey. Haven't seen Mac yet, at least in the couple of games that we've done with Bear Creek.
So Mulvey with an at-bat. Chance to tie the game. He is 1 for 4 so far in the tournament, and it was a double. That came in yesterday's win over Physio and company, and he's done it again. It's another double, and the game is tied as Mulvey has his first run batted in, and it's 3-3.
In and out of the glove of Pat Burns to give Mulvey the extra base, but coming through with a solid base hit past Wyatt Berube out into the gap in center right. And pressing all the buttons are the Bear Creek coaching staff right now.
And now at the top of the order with a chance to take their first lead as they've battled back here in the 4th from 3-1 down. And Normand looking to bear down. Literally. Was not intending that pun to happen. It just did.
Thanks, Ron.
Thank you, Ron. I'll tell you. Galenza, strong throw for the out.
Thumbs up.
I'll tell you. Good throw across the diamond. That was my best attempt at Robert Cole. My child. Patrick Burns in his 11 tournament hits. Leading off for Grand Prairie, who find themselves even for the second time. They took a 1-0 lead. Bear Creek came back. It was 3-1 going to the bottom of the fourth. And a new pitcher in Reese Yancey. Number 15 has pitched 7 in the third so far. We saw him start the game against the Toronto Batmen earlier today. In the tournament, given up 7 runs on 9 hits, struck out 10 and walked 5. Well, this is our second game of the day, and we're not disappointed again. And Patrick Burns tried to hit that to Saskatoon.
For the Pirates is number 7, Patrick Burns.
He had a quality rip at that. And another base hit, Blair, for Burns. His 12th of the tournament.
Just pounding out base hit after base hit. And Peter, just another defensive change for the Express. Dallas Kipfer is now out at shortstop, so the DP entering the game.
Zach Berg, who was pinch hit for by Mac Mulvey, and that turned out well. It tied the game. Paulai, a beautifully executed double play. Can't wait to feast my peepers on another look at it.
Batting to DP number 24, Scott Mihai.
That's some good defense right there. Tyler Paulai had the presence of mind to make sure he got the lead runner and still left himself enough time to get the backhand toss over to Jeff Lyons. And that's a big out for the Express, or a big 2 outs for the Express.
Paulai with a terrific play, the shovel after the tag. And that'll help Reese Yancey out. Blair, when Reese is at his best, what's he bring to the table?
He's got a real good drop ball, and he can mix speeds too. He's got a decent changeup. Where Reese runs into trouble sometimes is with focus, and he'll lose the strike zone. And he'll put guys on and then groove one or get too much of the plate. And he can run into a big inning.
Hit well. Bruce can't get to it. And Scotty Mihai has his first hit of the game. Another extra base hit for Grand Prairie. Just for a second, the way he trotted towards second, I was wondering if he thought it left the yard.
I think all of us thought it was going to leave the yard, but I'm also wondering if maybe he pulled something, because he is bent over and is very ginger on that right leg now.
That's exactly the case.
Johnny Atkinson is running out of bodies over in the Pirates dugout. He may have to put on a game jersey and get out there himself.
I think he does have an at-bat in the tournament. I know he did in last year's event. And there's Donnie on his way.
Donnie was a good hitter not that long ago, playing for the Lloydminster Dodgers and then morphed into Grand Prairie. But Scott Mihai is looking for some help to get off the field.
No, he's done, it would appear, and that's really unfortunate.
That's a blow, because he is a big stick. Not just a big man, but a big stick right in the middle of that lineup.
So you get Jones back, and you think you have your best possible lineup, and now this occurs. No wonder he was having trouble going to second base, and he can't put any weight on that leg either.
No, something happened there. He must have popped something coming around the corner.
Yeah, he's in a lot of discomfort.
Let's see if we can see it here on the replay. You see the ball ricochet right off the fence. And he's already pulled up. As you said, he was trotting going into second, and it just got worse the more time he spent out there. But Josh Kinney is on in his replacement, and that is a tough trade for the Pirates. No offense to Josh, but Scott Nehigh is a world-class stick.
So is this guy, Corey Jones. He's 0 for 2 in the game. Does have a home run. This is just his second game of the tournament for the Leduc, Alberta product. And was trying to go deep right there, and a nice change of pace from Yahtzee. Ball and a strike. In a 3-3 tie with a second playoff life on the line in this final round robin affair for these two teams, both sporting records of 3-1. The Toronto Batmen with a fourth consecutive win earlier today against Bear Creek, clinched top spot by virtue of the fact that they have wins over both of these teams.
Souk Loggers will be back on the telecast at 8:30, probably closer to 9:15. They need a win to secure, without the benefit of a tiebreaker, that last playoff spot in the black pool. They'll be taking on Physio and Co.
There'd be 2 tiebreakers tomorrow if they happen to lose that game tonight. Another quality changeup and a strikeout for Yahtzee. 3-3 going to the 5th here at lovely Softball City. Three tie. Bear Creek has never led. They've come back twice to tie it, including scoring 2 times in their last at-bat. They have Pauli, Bruce, and Jones due up in the bottom of the 5th. Normand remains in the circle. He's gone the whole way. Pauli has gone down on strikes twice in the contest. Is he still looking to truly get on track? He has 1 hit. It was an RBI triple earlier today against Toronto.
Come on now. Be a stick in there, Pop.
And the Team Canada scouting staff, coaching staff, the evaluation has been going on since the opening pitch here.
Well, Steve Normand certainly is somebody on their radar screen. I believe he's on the 40-man roster. That one way up and into Pauli. And the great thing about a guy like Steve Normand is he can eat up innings. When you think of who's pitching games against in these qualifying tournaments, games like South Africa and Denmark, Steve Normand is a guy that could be in contention for something like that. Where his competition is somebody like Ty Sebastian, who also Tyler Paul, he's got to go pick up the bat. He threw it all the way to the on-deck circle thinking he had ball 4. And that's not a good sign.
I would suggest that
you better be swinging at this pitch no matter where it is after that. And then the little argument too.
He needs to be careful.
Yeah, you better be swinging. But versatility is the point I was trying to make.
Nice hop for Corey Jones, and Paul I with about as filthy a look as you could give anyone on his way back.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, that one burned a hole in the umpire. Quentin Bruce tripled his last time up. He's 1 for 2. 5 home runs in the tournament. 6 extra base hits now. 11 runs batted in. Hit in the hand last night by Derek Mason. Hand, or I think maybe closer to the wrist. And fouls this out of play.
Just judging by where all the tape is, I'm guessing it was right down at the bottom of the wrist.
Have you ever broken your wrist?
I have not, but I know people who have, and they take a long time to heal. Just ask Jason Hill.
I will tell you a funny story about how I broke mine. And it wasn't so funny.
I'll bet not. Broken bones rarely are.
It was also at Bob Van Impe Stadium.
The stairs are steep there.
No, it was not that. But it's a nice guess. I should never tell the story, but I'm never afraid to say anything. People who know me know that. I was watching a Masters event, and I was standing on the platform area at Bob Van Impe, and a foul ball came screaming towards me, and just for a second I went to catch it, pulled back my hand, broke my wrist.
A little bit of self-defense. And I'll bet that was painful on the drive to the hospital.
It was with my dear friend, an anesthesiologist at the time. I felt a little embarrassed. Not many people break bones watching games, but I managed to. That's good for a story.
That is a great story.
Watching a softball game.
You managed to break your wrist.
Yeah. Almost had it happen to me again at the College Men's Baseball World Series. So I try to stay away from foul balls. Couple of hops, Berube, and Bruce is retired.
Next up for the Express, number 2.
This game could use a bit of a jolt. And you wouldn't think that necessarily about a game that is 3-3 with lots on the line. Beautiful day. But remember, it is the 5th game for these two teams.
We're at the point in the tournament now where the innings are starting to pile up, and we're at that point in the season, too. We talked about that the other night. The innings are piling up. The wear and tear, the nicks and cuts and bruises on the players are taking their toll. It is a grind to get through this event, and particularly with the two-a-days. And then you get into the sharp end of the tournament.
Well, I remember the days when this tournament was a lot longer than it is now. Now it's a 5-day affair where you can play, and teams here are sometimes 6 round-robin games depending on the size of the field, and that is not the same on an annual basis depending on location of where the tournament is played. On the topic of Bob Van Impe Stadium, that is where it is slated to be played next year. The Senior Men's Championship returns to the great city of Saskatoon.
And hopefully one or two of these BC teams, in addition to Souk, will have enjoyed their experience enough to get them to want to make the trip.
Normand, the toss, and a well-pitched 1-2-3 inning against a difficult part of the Express order. 3-3, headed to inning number 6. Williams, the batter. Todd. Angels from Saskatoon. The Nova Scotia East Hants Shooters Bar and Grill Mastodons. That'll be an entertaining game. It's what's on the slate next. And then we'll watch the host team in their usual 8:30 time slot this week, trying to clinch the final playoff berth in their pool when they take on Physio & Co. Have yet to see that group play this week.
We haven't, and we haven't seen the Niagara Stompers here, curiously, through a quirk of scheduling.
We will tomorrow. And Yahtzee with a nice rise in tight. And that's his second consecutive strikeout since coming in relief of starter Riley Mannion. Scott Galenza, 1 for 2. Bruce took a couple of steps in. And very quickly, Yahtzee retires the first 2 Grand Prairie Pirate batters.
Pat Burns doing some throwing in the bullpen for Grand Prairie.
Saw him play for the first time. Team Canada played a couple of games in Ontario right before they made their way to Prague. Might have been an Interkip. And that was my first occasion to see Mr. Burns in person.
2019, likely.
It was
Interkip.
It was 2019. It was a doubleheader.
Yeah, Interkip is the most likely spot.
My first visit to Interkip.
They've got a great couple of diamonds there. We've run several events there, and Team Canada has made multiple visits. All the players I talk to really like the fields there. They've invested in some upgrades over the years, and
I enjoyed it.
great little town.
Yes, agreed. Evan Normand, who has homered in this game, back in the second, draws a 2-out walk from Maurice Yancey.
See, and there's the focus, I think, with Maurice Yancey a little bit. He wasn't even close with any of those pitches, really, to Evan Normand, and now has to face the 9-batter Berube, but you might have been able to start the next inning.
Well, how critical is this when you consider who's coming up next? 2 out. Horn gives chase, but the ball makes its way out of play. Brandon Horn looks like a gentleman who could play for about 5 or 6 or 7 more years.
Took a couple years off. 2019 didn't play. Of course, nobody played in 2020.
Down the line, foul.
And barely anybody played in 2021. But they coaxed him out of a retirement to come back last year in 2022. And to your point, it hardly looked like he'd missed a beat.
And he's right back in the Canadian pool.
Deservedly so.
What is that glorious smell? Ripped. Thought it was actually headed more towards the gap when it left the bat.
Did a good job there by Noah Baker to close the gap and make the catch.
Bottom of the 6th. It remains 3-3. Bear Creek is never led. They'll have a chance to take the lead when we return. If only sometimes we had open mic of what goes on between innings.
Oh, that's happened to me at least once.
Oh, I know. Have to be careful with that stuff when you're around a microphone. Jeff Lyons. He's having a fine afternoon. It is still the afternoon, is it not? No, it isn't. We've crept into the evening. It's 6:19 here in British Columbia. He's 2 for 2. Bear Creek trailed 1-0, tied it at 1, trailed 3-1, tied it with 2 in the fourth. And we remain there. At one point, I thought we might be in that 6-5 territory again, and who knows, we might get there.
Well, one thing's for certain, it will not end 3-3.
And he has his third consecutive hit. Jeff Lyons, an afternoon to remember, 3 for 3, all singles. And Bear Creek has the go-ahead run aboard in the bottom of the sixth.
Well, this was the part of the order that manufactured the 2 runs back in the fourth. Jeff Lyons led off with a single, came around to score.
Pinch hitter, Scott Lelis comes to home plate. Drops down a bunt. Williams with a nice pickup, but gets the job done, does Lelis. And moves the runner, Lyons, over to second base in scoring position. 5-4 on the out, over at first. And now it's Kipfer. Delivered a big hit last night in the bottom of the sixth in a pinch hitting scenario in the 4-2 triumph over the host Souk Loggers. And he has a chance to do it in the sixth inning again in this contest. His team has never led in this one. Norman. Burns came a pretty lengthy way in right to make that catch.
Well, I was just about to say, though, Peter, that he was playing in 10 steps from where he normally would. So while he did have to come and make that catch on the run, his positioning ahead of time was to his advantage because he's now back about where that shadow is. He was at least 10 steps in front of that.
Noah Baker a chance to give Bear Creek the lead. And he has a run batted in today. He drove in the second run with what ended up being a double off the glove of shortstop Scott Galenza, and this gets away from Keegan Archon. And now the go-ahead run is 60 feet away.
So I'm not sure if that was just a mislocation by Steve Normand or if he crossed up Keegan Archon, but that is the kind of pitch you don't expect Keegan Archon to whiff on.
A ball and no strikes to Noah Baker. Can he cash in?
Back with the rise ball, typically his best pitch, up and in to Noah Baker.
From his knees, not in time. From Todd Williams, who did well to glove it. And Noah Baker has given Bear Creek a 4-3 lead.
That was almost a miracle play by Todd Williams. He did well just to even get a glove on that. And the throw just offline, just pulled Corey Jones a hair off the bag. And I think Noah Baker was going to be there too. But boy, oh boy, that was some flashy defense over there by Todd Williams. A great play.
Mac Mulvey tied the game with a pinch hit base hit, a double in fact. In the bottom of the fourth, Noah Baker, 2 runs batted in today. And Bear Creek's in front for the first time. Now remember, the top of the order on the way for Grand Prairie in the top of the 7th. So this is a long way from being in the bank.
But it's the bottom of the order here, Peter, that's done a great job for Bear Creek and has manufactured 3 of their 4 runs.
It is. But the Pirates are the team in the good place in their lineup now that they have to come back for the first time because Braden Archon will lead it off in the 7th. Mac Mulvey trying to add now to the advantage. Baker on the run. The throw in time from Keegan Archon. But Bear Creek takes its first lead despite a valiant effort at third by Todd Williams, who almost made one of the plays of the tournament. Back for the 7th in this crucial round-robin affair when we return to Softball City. Top of the order, now trailing Donnie Atkinson's team from Grand Prairie for the first time. And certainly Donnie has the right part of his order up. Archon homered, doubled, 2 for 3. And Patrick Burns is next. All he does is deliver hits. He has 12 of them. He's batting .769.
That's video game numbers.
Silly stuff. Those numbers.
Well, Gary Burns, first base coach, put the lineup card out. Well, they've got too many people left.
Archon facing Reese Yancey, who came on in relief of Riley Mannion, a couple of Team Canada U23 players. And that gets away. You want to be careful with this player. He's having a marvelous tournament.
Well, here's a big test for Reese Yancey, and with the crowd that is building, but particularly those in the table immediately to our right. A lot of eyes on Reese Yancey here.
Off the glove of Paulai, and Archon has his 3rd hit of the game. Homer doubled, and now he is singled, and exactly what Grand Prairie was looking for to start the top of the 7th.
Tyler Pauli would like that one back right off the glove.
Archon has, according to the numbers I'm looking at, he has 11 hits in the tournament now as well, with his 3-for-4 outing.
Well, aside from that game against Toronto, these guys have been putting up big numbers. Double digits a couple of times.
Lofty. Patrick Burns.
Ball hit him. I think they're going to rule that he was still in the box.
Well, this is an interesting situation. You're down a run. This game is large. It decides second place, which brings with it an extra playoff opportunity. And Burns, who has 12 hits in the tournament, that wasn't a full sacrifice attempt, and he does not pull the trigger on the rise. And forced basically now with the count to swing, which for this guy, not a bad idea. Yancey wanted that one.
Well, the percentages certainly would be in favor of Pat Burns the way he's been swinging the stick right now.
13th hit. Back-to-back base hits for the Pirates. Archon and Burns, and in business. Trying to draw at least even in the top of inning number 7. Patrick Burns, those two guys, they have it going on right now. Both of them with 11 and 13 hits respectively, and
you really need a strikeout here for Reese Yancey if you're a Bear Creek fan. Right into the meat of the order for the Pirates. Peter, you called it in the previous inning.
And Scott Nehigh is actually in the on-deck circle. That is a little surprising, the way he left.
Well, he is being very cautious around that right knee. If it comes to it, I'm sure they're just hoping he can bomb one somewhere. Roy Hobson around the base.
And you mentioned needing a strikeout. Reese Yancey just delivered one. As Keegan Archon puts his hands on top of his helmet, he's disappointed. Well, is this our Kirk Gibson moment?
That's the other guy I was thinking of.
I'm a Dodgers fan, so needless to say, I'm more likely to go there.
One of the best sports moments of the last 50 years.
Incredible, 1988 against the Oakland Athletics. Brilliantly called by the all-time great, the greatest.
I was just thinking the same thing.
Vin Scully.
That is my good friend Jim Flanagan's favorite clip.
And he was still incredible when he said enough very recently, into his 80s, Blair. Nehigh trying to find some stability on that injured leg. Two balls and a strike, 2 on, 1 out. Top of the 7th, the chance for Bear Creek to ensure a second place finish and an extra playoff life. The top 2 finishers in each pool have an extra opportunity. If you finish 5 through 8, you're in single elimination when the playoffs begin in earnest tomorrow.
Real good pitch there on the outside corner from Yancey.
The Saskatoon Angels and the East Hants Mastodons from Nova Scotia. Up next. We'll give them credit for trying.
Well, back out to the outside corner again. He made Scott reach across the plate and put a little pressure on that knee, and he hopped back reflexively too.
A gutty performance here for the batter. And he left it in not the greatest spot, but I think he got away with one, and there's 2 down.
Yeah, that's a big out for the Express, an infield fly off the bat of Scott Knee-high as he very slowly makes his way back to the dugout and on one leg goes down the stairs.
So it boils down to this. Runner in scoring position, 2 on, 2 out, top of the 7th for Williams, who has homered today. Or make that Corey Jones. Don't want to get ahead of myself. He has not homered today. He has homered in the tournament. He did in his first game yesterday. And more than capable is Corey Jones, who was not in love with that call. Jones has struck out his last 2 times. Game on the line. That one out of the zone. 2 balls and a strike. Arcon, the base runner, at first, or at second. At first, it's Patrick Burns. The change is a gem. Takes a little chutzpah to throw that pitch in that situation.
Was not at all what Corey Jones was looking for either. Couldn't get the bat off the shoulder.
The 2-2. Game on the line. And Jones stays alive.
So this is a signals visit. That's why umpire Andrew Godin is going out with them. You can talk about the signals only in this second visit. And then the umpire will escort Nick Moore shortly back to behind the plate.
Does he throw the change again?
Well, in the back of my mind, I was thinking when you said chutzpah, I was thinking, boy, it would really be audacious to throw 2 in a row.
Another 2-2 with 2 out. Again, Jones stays alive. I love it. Great drama. Final round robin game for these 2 teams, trying to put a hold on second place. Yancey delivers low, and the count runs full to Corey Jones. The payoff on its way. Base hit! Arcon comes around. Game tied at 4. A clutch run batted in for Corey Jones. And we are even again.
Some discussion there with Jeff Lyons and Daryl Helmer. Reese Yancey was the one taking the cutoff, but honestly, he should either be backing up third or home. He should be nowhere near the pitching plate to take that cutoff. He's got to remember what his job is there. That's Jeff Lyons' play.
Ciano has that drone out again, giving us some great pictures. What a marvelous job he and his wife have done for this sport. Premier Softball TV. And there are nothing but rave reviews everywhere you go. And you just won't meet two finer humans. This is Williams. He has indeed homered in the game. A single would get the job done in terms of taking a lead, but let's not forget, Bear Creek still has an at-bat. And Williams swings on that high rise ball. Runners at the corners after Jones tied the game. This should go foul.
Should. After last night, I'd be in a hurry to go get that. If I was Jeff Lyons, we saw one last night.
What do you mean, that left turn?
That left turn took a 90-degree left turn and went from 3 feet foul to 3 feet fair.
I'd call that the NASCAR play. Left turn after left turn. Williams had a good rip at that. Straight back. And he knew it. In a 4-4 tie. 2 games still on the slate to close out the round robin here. And Williams couldn't pull the trigger. But Corey Jones did. Tied the game with an RBI single to cash in Braden Archon. We're headed to the bottom of the 7th in a 4-4 tie in a game that's featured 21 hits. Share with our viewers the routine that you were just telling me about for the pitcher Stephen Normand, who's back to work.
Well, I watched Steve Normand do this last week too down in Wisconsin. After an out or after his warm-ups, he takes 12 steps down, turns, walks behind the circle. He gets the ball even at the front of the circle, walks to exactly behind the circle, then back onto the board. And he is a creature of habit every time.
Well, there he goes again.
Right to the tip of the circle, and then back to the board.
Mac Mulvey, he tied the game with a pinch hit RBI single in the 4th. leads it off for Bear Creek. Is Corey Jones driving in the equalizer in the top half of the inning for Grand Prairie.
And starting with their 9 batter because they got caught with Noah Baker stealing. I don't know why he was on the move in that situation, leaving the 9 batter to lead off the inning.
Mulvey fouls that back. Brandon Horn in the top of the order. On deck. Brandon has 1 hit. He's 1 for 3 in the game. The other thing about Normand that I've noticed, and maybe he's not trying to do it, he has kind of an interesting little either wiggle on the board. That little, he almost looks like he's going to be off balance every time.
Yeah, he leans one way, but he kind of goes the other with the knee. Something my golf coach has been telling me not to do.
Yeah, I don't have a golf coach. I'm so frustrated I don't even play anymore. Well, no frustration for Stephen Normand. You can do whatever you want when you deliver that.
Number
4-4. Second place in this pool on the line, which is important because if you finish in the first 2 spots, you have an extra try in the playoffs, and you'll be in a crossover game tomorrow against the first place team in the other pool, so it's likely to the winner a date with the Galway Hitmen, but
well, they're up 2-0 right now in the second. A 2-run home run by the Galway pitcher, Colin Walsh. Kyle Linton on the board for the Niagara Stompers in that one.
Have to dig into the Niagara homework tonight. We have not seen them in any of our games because they've not played on Diamond 1.
And who needs a blimp when you've got drone coverage? Great shot overhead.
That's awesome. You like those toys, don't you?
I think what Luciano has brought to bear for us over the last couple of seasons is just staggering. And as you said, the compliments that Luciano gets for the production values are just amazing.
Well, I remember when I joined you and Joe Todd in Simcoe, and I was just absolutely blown away by what he's able to do. And this is going to be a base hit for Brandon Horn. Makes the big turn on his way to second. Safe.
I don't know how he got around the tag because the ball was there in plenty of time.
I think he actually did, but we'll see. Or tried to, with the sun bearing down in our booth.
He did. Slid around it. I was shocked that he was making the turn. I know why he is. He's trying to make it happen, but
Luciano, can we get one more peek at that?
one more. Run the replay again.
When the drone's in service, that
he comes right around. He almost did a semicircle turn. Gary Burns is out pleading his case now to the third base umpire.
I mean, it's a little difficult to see just because of the sun bearing down in our booth. But I really felt, even from the original play, I didn't think they put the tag on him until it was too late. And we've seen 2 looks. And I think they got the call right.
Well, a big opportunity now for Tyler Pauli. Here it is again in slow-mo. He just sticks that right arm in there underneath the tag.
Because if the first sweep made contact, would you feel a need to go back again? So the winning run now, Brandon Horn, the double, his second hit of the game. And Tyler Pauli, this would be a nice time to
get off the schneid, as you called it earlier.
Has just one hit in the tournament. Normand missing to even the count at 1 ball and 1 strike. Brandon Horn, an excellent base runner. He's just a ball player.
Well, we talked about that yesterday, a player's player.
Highly intelligent, experienced, runs well. Drilled! This game is over. That's getting yourself off the schneid. Walk-off, 2-run homer for Tyler Pauli. And Bear Creek finishes second in pool play. And there was never any question when it left the bat of where it was going.
And no doubt, any doubt you had about that call at second base is absolutely erased on the home run by Tyler Pauli. You'll see it here, middle, and he gets all of it. A no-doubter. Pat Burns just turned to watch it go. And Bear Creek will finish second in the black pool. And right now, it'll be another All-Ontario matchup. Potentially, if Niagara can mount a similar comeback.
That will not be easy against the 3-time reigning champions from Newfoundland, the Galway Hitmen, playing Niagara in that unbeaten battle on another diamond here. So Bear Creek gets it done in the bottom of the 7th. And they knock off Grand Prairie. It will be the Saskatoon Angels and Nova Scotia's East Hants Shooters Bar and Grill Mastodons for positioning when we return in about 20-25 minutes time. Hope you enjoyed this one. I know we did. For Luciano, Carol, and Blair, I'm Peter. So long for now.
For the latest in softball innovation, the website where you can experience the best tournaments in the Americas. Live games, news, tournaments, and much more. The best quality live softball, on demand so you can watch when you want. Become a Premier member now. SoftballPremierTV.com. Live it on Softball Premier.